So probably the big thing for people is really that they feel out of control
Hmm.
what they're eating
Right.
or even their
Well,
activity, like they have no desire for something. So to change the desire makes it easy then, or to change the craving.
right. Well, again, yeah, we just, I mean, food is like a drug. It's handled exactly the same way, addiction.
Yeah.
So how would we start this conversation? Weight loss, the errors of weight loss programs. Let's do that one.
The errors. Okay. Great. So if you've been on a journey of losing weight and have felt like nothing is working, there's actually a reason for that, right? And so I'm here with Sir Robert Gene Smith and I'm Tammy Magnuson, and we're going to be discussing some deep, in-depth understandings of what is actually going on inside your brain to create this problem in the first place and
Hmm.
what you can do to really change it. Because if nothing's working, then what did Einstein say? We can't
Yeah.
keep doing the same stuff and expecting a different result. And so I think this is going to create a lot of freedom for people around food, addictions, cravings, and even setting yourself up for loving to do activities.
Yeah, very good. Most people do not realize, and when we're talking about weight loss, you who are watching this, you know you tried a lot of stuff, dieting, all kinds of mystery fat eating things, or taking the drugs or lap band surgeries.
When
Uh,
to eat, what
yeah,
to eat, counting calories.
yeah, all those things. But um, a lot of people tried a lot of things, but the biggest misunderstanding about weight loss, weight gain has very little to do with food. Now, let's just think about it logically. If weight were the issue, say it's 20 pounds, if you lose the weight, the problem is solved forever. I mean, that's the issue. The issue is 20 pounds. Okay. Boom, you lost it. And the next thing you know, the 20 plus an extra five shows up over time.
Right.
So the question is, why is it not working? There's always a promise. And again, now when you're on a diet, if you think about it logically, you're on a diet and you're restricting what goes in your mouth. And you're doing a exercise program, right? The only way these will ever last is if they become obsessions. They have to be obsessively always dieting. Their whole life is around measuring, restricting your relationship and the food that goes inside you. All right.
Mm.
And so this is a big, big problem is that it's the food that has a problem. And therefore, I got to restrict the food. You
Mm.
know,
Yeah.
if I, because I worked in, my name is Robert Gene. I've been working in with weight loss and or addictions for 2001 for this is 22 years. And of course, I created a process called Eutaptics, Fast for T trainings, and volunteered a lot of hours at drug rehabs for I think 8 years, 9 years, 10 years, something like that. Volunteered. And my whole purpose was to try to figure out the mystery behind weight gain, weight loss. Now, of course, I started doing trainings here in Oklahoma City and they wanted weight loss, and of course, when I was in high school, I wrestled in high school. And of course, with high school, you got to pull weight, you got to lose weight. And so I just quit eating so much, and I would run a lot and I would burn the weight off. So
Right.
when they wanted me to help them lose weight, and I did lose weight, I ate one burger instead of two. I mean, it's pretty logical, right? But I read a book called Diets Don't Work. Now, why does diets not work? Now, it does work only while you're on it.
Mhm.
But once you come off and go back to normal living style, the weight comes back on, slowly creeping its way back up or fast, depending on the emotional driver behind the addiction. And
Okay, emotional driver behind the addiction. So I just want
mhm,
everyone to catch that understanding and pause a moment, because emotional driver means that there's something besides
The
the
food.
food,
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
besides the food.
Yeah.
Uh,
So in my world, when I started working with drug addicts, my first question when I was there, I'd say, why are you addicted? Why are you addicted? And every one of them has same basic answer. I just don't want to feel bad.
yeah.
I don't want to numb the pain. I want to escape what's going on inside my world. All right, this is drugs, meth, heroin, cocaine, alcohol, whatever it is. And the thing is, when I started doing this work and they wanted me to give weight loss programs, diets don't work. Basically, and they even gave us some research where they put anorexic people, people who are really, really thin. They restricted their diet and took away what they liked. When they let them eat it again, they gained weight.
Right.
Because again, I want you to think about it. So the bizarreness of weight gain is connected to, I say, emotional education. I also say emotional traumas. Now, I've worked with so many people who have had so much traumatic experiences in and around the table. Table is a war zone. So in order to escape the war zone, we call scarf eating. What is scarf eating? They scarf it down so fast that they didn't even have a
Yeah.
chance to taste it. And again, so here it is. Scarf eating is a way that people gain weight without even knowing. They said, my diet's never changed. And the problem is, um, you could be still eating the 17-year-old style of food, but you're now 42. Your metabolism has changed, and you have what you call an automatic eating program, which means you always put the same amount, even if you don't need it, you eat it, and it keeps gaining the weight because your activity is slowed down. Right? That's another program.
Mm-hmm.
Another one most of you've heard, and it's really a very traumatic experience for a child. When I say traumatic, it's emotional training, emotional conditionings. Clean your plate. People are starving to death.
Yeah.
Eat those peas,
Right.
right? And so here it is. You're being forced to eat something to violate your unconscious natural eating program to clean your plate.
In
So,
order that somebody else doesn't suffer. So I know, I remember a time when I was told something similar, and I imagined, that means I saw it in my head, I imaged it, right? That there was this poor little child starving, and they have barely any clothes and they're just
mhm,
skin and bones. Now, this imagination in my head, that's what we're talking about, emotional education. That's a trauma
yeah.
to a child. Like the
Oh,
fact
yeah.
that I can imagine that and then
Yeah.
feel guilty or
Yeah.
shame around food. So what does that
And that,
create?
yeah, and you're the one that ate it. But what about those who didn't eat it? The ones who hid it in their socks, the one who put it in their pockets, the one who went to the bathroom and puked it up. I mean, there's emotional food trauma. There's emotional abuse in and around food. There's
Right.
food traumas. And so again, another one is, like, my friend Randy, he told his dad, I don't like pork chops. Next thing you know, he's waking up on the floor, getting back up from to the table because he said, "Boy, don't you bitch about the food I buy, you eat it."
Right.
So now he always cleans his plate, right?
Mm,
So we have food traumas, food emotional conditionings. Um, you're such a good girl, you get dessert. So
yes.
now here it is, the good girl reward thing.
Yep. That's huge. That means in
Hmm.
order to feel good, what are you
Hmm.
going to do? You're going to go for those sweets. You're going to, and
Well,
then,
well,
so,
yeah, it's a reward. Good
right.
girl. Yeah. And
Yeah.
like another person, we have what you call emotional conditioned eatings. Emotional conditioned eatings. By the way, all the ones I'm talking about, diets will never fix these. Never. No matter how many diets, how many drugs, how many exercise programs, will never solve these.
Mm,
So, so there's a lot of eating programs, and another eating program that I've seen is called, it's the love fix. And that means like there was a woman who came to see me, and this is probably 2000, 2001. And she had a horrible addiction to Mountain Dew. I mean, she'll
Mhm.
drink a 6-pack a day or more. And of course, if you love food or you hate food, the two elements between the two is that you're giving emotions to food.
Mhm.
All right. Food doesn't feel emotions because it's cooked, it's baked, it's broiled, it's mixed, right? Or raw, but they don't feel love and they don't feel hate. And so when you say you love food, um, there is a misalignment with your emotions. So here it
Mhm.
is.
Yeah.
Every night she says, I just don't understand why every night I have to eat popcorn and butter as I watch TV every night. And it's so controlling me. And of course, there is a history behind eating programs. And I said, well, what about growing up when you're sitting around the table? How was the table life? Oh, it was horrible. Somebody's going to cry at the table. It's always something bad. He said back in those days, they came out with the TVs like this big, and we're all sitting in the living room watching this little TV,
Eating
eating popcorn.
corn.
Eating is a positive thing when you're doing this. So here she is all alone now, all alone at home. And this is a bringing the family together, although she's eating popcorn and there's no family there.
Right. That is so important for everybody to get. And I think it was interesting. I think you said that the love emotion doesn't line up with
Mhm.
food.
Yeah.
And yet we say, I love this, I love that. And it's the
Mm.
experience we love. And that is so powerful for people that have struggled with this for so long to really understand.
Yeah. Yeah. See, another thing too, when we have that emotional conditioned love feeling, now, how do we get these feelings? Well, it's very simple. It's as simple as feed your dog,
Right.
call its name, feed your dog, call its name, feed your dog, call its name, call its name, feed the dog. Next thing you know, the name represents pleasure, positivity. And
Right.
so with just recently, we had a lady who joined You Can Change Yourself and working on herself. And she said, this sourdough bread is so controlling my whole life. I wake up in the middle of the night. It's even if it's frozen, I'll get it out and slice it and put it in the toaster. And I don't know why it controls me. And within just a few sentences
Yeah.
and using her imagination, that obsession went like this, flipped over.
Yeah. And
And
here's what's so interesting that everybody can understand. When we feel like we don't know how come, there is a reason, right? That's why I
unconsciously,
love
yeah,
your
yeah.
tactics is because of how logical it is. There is a reason when when I worked with somebody and she had an addiction to chocolate and she was like, I have to have a chocolate before night. Like if it's midnight and I haven't
Hmm.
had chocolate, I send
Hmm.
my husband out to get
Yep.
chocolate from the store. It was crazy, but she's like, I have to have it. And here, this was associated with the very few times she got to see her dad when she
Yeah.
was little. Of
Yeah.
course, she's gonna love chocolate. The brain just links, right?
Hooks them up.
Talk
Yeah.
about the link a little bit because that's so fascinating to me to
Yeah.
know that all that happens is the brain
Hmm.
has an item and an emotion at the same time, and
Yeah.
then it thinks
Yeah.
it's this item.
Yeah. So we call these are food imprints, emotional imprints based with food. Now it goes both ways. It goes with the hate of food and the
Right.
positivity of food. There's no difference between the two inside the brain.
And even
There was a
allergies.
student and allergies too. Oh yeah,
Mhm.
this works with allergies as well.
Yep.
So we had a student. You may have been there. I can't remember what her name is, but you probably know who she was. She came to the seminar and she hated Cheetos, literally hated Cheetos. Now again, I said, how can you hate a bag of chips? I mean, it's just food. How can you hate it? And she's never eaten Cheetos. Why would you hate food? I mean, why would you have such emotional passion? And
Yeah.
so she didn't know at the time she came up. We started tapping on her, addressing the emotions, etc. And come to find out, she said, I've never eaten them. I don't know why I hate them. I said, well, just think about it. You know anybody else who actually ate them? She goes, oh, yeah, I know who it is. So she hated this person
Yeah.
and she put the emotions and tied it in and linked it to the Cheetos. Now, by
Yeah.
the time we got done, of course, she said, I'll never eat those. I don't like those. I hate those, but never ate one. By the time we got done, we worked on her emotional internal representation of that food, and she ate the whole bag without me and prompting her. But again, it's the emotional links.
Right.
The woman who couldn't, like you said, chocolate. Here it is. She wakes up in a dead sleep, flashlight in hand, crawling around at night, looking into her kid's room, trying to find their Christmas chocolate or their Halloween chocolate or Easter chocolate. And yet it has controlled her whole existence. She can't have chocolate in the house.
Yeah.
And of course, in the middle of the night, and she's having a bad week, punches her husband in the back. I need chocolate. I started this today. And he'd get up in the middle of the night, go across town to get chocolate, you know? So again, this has been a major emotional controller. But by the way, chocolate does nothing.
No,
Zero. It
it's
just
the
lays in a
belief.
package.
It's what we believe it will help us feel happy, and the
And
brain linked
yeah.
it. And
And the thing is why she believed that. So said, all right, so I know we had chocolate in the seminar. I brought her up and I said, have you ever not wanted to eat chocolate? She said, never. And I said, well, just tell me about your chocolate. Have you ever had good chocolate? She goes, oh, yes, when I was a kid, we get chocolate for Easter. Grandpa and grandma would come bring us chocolate. My boyfriend give me chocolate, you know. And she said, I said, but I didn't have an addiction back then. I said, okay, well, any other experiences about chocolate? And so she said, yeah, I won a contest and I got to travel around Europe. And when I'm traveling around Europe, I don't know anybody and I feel all alone
um,
until I found Belgian chocolate,
now
Swiss
you feel like
chocolate.
you.
And then all of a sudden, now remember, she has positive emotional feelings with the
Mhm,
people who give her chocolate. And what we have done, we put the emotions in the food.
mhm.
And of course, I say, hey, I can help you with that addiction. Oh, no, don't take my love away. I said, listen, there's no love here. It's a one-sided love relationship, and you're getting fat.
Right.
You're losing, not
Yeah.
gaining. You're gaining, not losing.
Yes. There's
Anyway,
a.
and so when I worked on her, we saw the emotional link because she was feeling all alone, sad, and the only positive connection to family was that.
Yeah.
Then in the class,
In
we
our
worked
head, that's the only positive connection. We know
because
there's
it's
more.
wired. It's
Right.
wired in there. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it becomes an imprint, a natural operating system. When I got done with her, and then I did the smell, we addressed the smell, we addressed the taste, the texture, the sensation. Because to be honest with you, when you eat something, your brain has already encoded a predetermined flavor, texture, and sensation with it. I mean, you
Mm.
can remember the favorite food,
Yeah.
even right now. And then when you remember it, you can actually recall, feel it, and taste it just now
Right.
because this is encoded. And so what we did is we tapped it, and then by the time we got done, she couldn't eat the chocolate. She says, I just didn't feel appealing to me. Now, because we pulled the love out. Now, here it is. Here it is, the love with grandma, with grandpa, and boyfriends. And what we do is instead of putting love in the chocolate, we put love back in the people.
Mm.
And then that's because chocolate will never love you. It doesn't know how.
Yep.
I said, listen, if we lock you in a warehouse with nothing but chocolate, you will not like chocolate by the time the month is over
Right.
because there's no love there and there's no passion. So when we got rid of it, we addressed it, made it back to normal. She can now eat it, but it's not controlling her existence.
Right.
And she said, the weirdest thing, Robert, after weeks after she came to seminar, she said the chocolate can sit on the kitchen table. It doesn't call my name. It doesn't make me eat it. I go, And I can just take a little bite and it satisfies me. I don't have to eat the whole thing. So these are, by the way, no diet, no exercise program will ever get rid of this. That's why when you're trying to lose weight, you're trying to lose what you have been emotionally conditioned to be good for you.
To feel
Clean your
good,
plate.
to feel happy, to feel
Yeah.
love, to feel,
And to
yeah.
and to survive, because if
Right.
you watch your brother get beaten because he didn't eat something, you're going to eat it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, even though you know that you could throw food, well, here's another one: the sacredness of food. You can't throw food away.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things that people do is they overeat. Even if there's a little bit of food, since you can't throw it away, you got to eat it. There's just that extra few bites that adds the pounds on. every meal. So
And you
again,
know
all of
what's
these are,
interesting? Oh, sorry.
go ahead.
What's interesting is how much pressure people feel to finish their plate. Like
Hmm.
they will literally have an internal sensation pressure,
Hmm.
and the food feels like relief. And so think
Well,
about that
mhm,
as
mhm.
you are eating. I've had people tell me that, well, I just feel relieved, like there's
Yeah,
the pressure's gone.
yeah,
So whether you're looking for fun, for love,
right.
for fulfillment, for
Hmm.
happiness, a lot of I've worked with two different ladies who've had ice cream. They have to have ice cream every night while they watch TV. Well, of course,
Hmm.
it's the same with the popcorn, right? You have
Yeah, conditioned.
good memories, good
Hmm.
sensations that go with that. And so you feel the pressure until
Hmm.
you get
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
fix, that ice cream.
what people do, food puts them in a hypnotic state. They put them in a state of a trance. Now,
Yeah.
the thing is, it's like, and just like a meth addict or a heroin addict or a cocaine addict or an alcoholic, they feel bad. They go to their drug, whether it's chocolate or ice cream or chips or cookies. While they're eating it, they feel really good.
Right.
And that's the emotional fix that keeps you stuck and puts weight on, because whenever the life gets hard, divorce, death, children, whatever it is, and you have no emotional coping skill, and your best coping skill is to escape from reality into a bag of Oreo cookies as you're
Right.
sitting in the closet because of the shame and embarrassment that you ate the whole thing, or driving by McDonald's and 5 Happy Meals and you ate all 5 of them on the way home,
And you say, and
you
you say
know,
it to my kids.
and then you still cook dinner and you still eat with your kids.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of emotional traumas. How many times I've heard this? My mother put me on a diet when I was 5 years old. So many bad emotional conditions and conditions about your body. You hate your body, all kinds of weirdness. Diets will never solve these issues, ever. And if you've been physically or emotionally traumatized, sexually traumatized, physically abused, and you men or women are finding you attractive and you don't like the attraction because it scares you, put on the weight and maybe no one will want me.
And this
I
is
see this program.
so important
Yes.
because that's the truth. There's a lot of physical abuse that
Mhm.
causes this subconscious program to protect you. And you're safe now. You're an adult.
Yeah.
You can take care of yourself, but you're back in that state where the little you
Yeah.
needs to be unattractive. And that's
Hmm.
a way to do it. And this is powerful stuff. Like there is a reason for your weight. There's a reason,
Yeah.
whether you're underweight or
Yeah.
overweight, right?
Yeah.
There's a
Both of them are
reason for the
successes.
program. Right,
Yeah.
a success. Hmm.
When I work with people who are overweight, you know what the biggest thing and the hardest thing to do is pull that food that they love so much from their hands, that's gaining the lot of weight and tormenting them. So
Yeah.
because they think that food loves them, they think it's doing something for them. It's just a hypnotic trance trying to escape our internal worries and traumas and our feelings. So what I do is I train, like, as you know, we teach people how to be in control of their emotions.
Right.
And we show them how to end the addiction to food. Foods are pretty easy addictions to end, you know.
Yeah.
Once you know how to put the proper feelings, you know, the love feeling that you felt for Mountain Dew, and the Mountain Dew, here she is, she's drinking a 6 pack a day. And I would start tapping on the taste and the texture and the smell. And all of a sudden she goes, it reminds me of mom's lemon meringue pie. When I was a little
Mm,
girl, mom was making it, and it was just me, and I was in the kitchen, and she gave me that lemon meringue pie, and that twang
yeah.
is connected to
There
the
it is.
twang in
Mhm.
Mountain Dew. I said, how long have you been drinking Mountain Dew like this? She said, 3 years. I said, what happened 3 years ago? Guess what?
Exactly.
Mom died.
Yes,
And
there we
I
go.
got chills going through me.
Yeah.
Mom died, and she's trying to find that love connection with mom, and that love connection she was finding in the twang. But the problem was, is that Mountain Dew was keeping her up at night because all the caffeine intake.
Right. And the
So
sugar and the toxic. I
yeah,
mean, not healthy.
So,
Yeah.
so it is, we flattened this out and we went back and we found all the good, beautiful memories of mom. So she can look at Mountain Dew, never drink it, and feel good because it reminds her to go back, sitting there with mom and feeling her love and being
Mhm.
connected with her.
Yeah.
And just like the girl who ate popcorn at night, she just wanted connection with people. And the guy who's a CEO of a big company, he goes, I just don't understand why. Why? When I'm feeling down, I don't feel great. I said, I find myself eating McDonald's foods and I don't even like their food, but I still have a compulsion to go there. And I said, well, let me explain how it works. They'll put a big old can of Pepsi in Michael Jackson's hand. You like Michael, but then you see the Pepsi too, at some kind of
The
level.
image. Hmm.
And he said, oh, I know where it came from now. I said, where'd it come from? He said, when I was in high school, we'd all hang around at night in the evenings with my buddies, having fun at McDonald's.
Oh, of course.
So he was lonely and he wanted his friends. So he
Right.
kept going to McDonald's and there was no friends.
Yeah. So a very fascinating point. The conscious mind. This guy knows the lady that I worked with chocolate and the ice cream. The people Roberts worked with the Mountain Dew and the McDonald's. It's all the same thing. Consciously, they know this isn't good, right? We could
Hmm.
ask you, is this good for
Hmm.
you? Is
Yeah.
smoking good for you? Is sugar good? And you would say,
Hmm.
no, but I can't
Stop
stop
it.
myself. And
Yeah.
so there's a reason for that, but it's in the subconscious mind. And I think
Yeah.
it's really important we talk about this
Hmm.
hypnotic state you talked about,
Hmm.
because hypnosis, the way I didn't understand it until I met you, is that it is any time that we're not present in the subconscious mind. It's
Hmm.
running around back
Right.
here, remembering,
Right.
picking up things, linking things, figuring out like, oh, I
Mhm.
felt this now. My brain has to figure out what to do.
Right.
So I think it's important to talk a little bit about hypnosis and how food
Right.
becomes
Yeah, we go into an automatic food trance. Now, when most people think about hypnotists, we got a guy with a watch trying to
right.
guide you and close your eyes and you quack like a chicken. Well, let's just think about it. So here
Hmm.
it is. Someone walks in with a big old thing of cookies. All of a sudden you're salivating and you
Right.
cannot not eat it. It's like you go into this trance.
Yes.
Gosh, a hypnotist will say, anytime I say blue, and only when I say the color blue, you're going to eat a cookie, right? And next thing you know, the hypnotist says, I got a pair of blue shoes. That guy starts grabbing cookies and eating it. That's
Right.
what we've been doing. We've been unconsciously eating. It's like, because I never eat. How come I keep gaining weight? I said, you can't gain weight off of air. I said, you're eating and you're so entranced with your own misery, trying to escape it. You dust the cookie crumbs off your shirt and look at the box and said, ooh, ate them all. But you ate them
Exactly.
without knowing
So
it.
true. How many
Yeah.
times have we finished a bag of chips or a bag of cookies and been like, who ate that? Who ate Yeah,
Mhm.
it's a trance. And so
Yeah.
trance just means like we are consciously unaware of the unconscious
Mhm. Yeah.
uh program, the unconscious way that we're doing
It's
something.
it's how the brain naturally works. I mean, honestly, we go into trance to trance. Now, trance is an automatic response system. It like walking is a trance today.
Exactly.
It's an automatic system that just takes over.
Right.
And so walking is one of those things. Now, again,
Mhm.
we've been walking all of our life, but at one point we didn't know how. There are some people who've had head strokes or injuries, and they don't know how to walk. They have to learn to develop those muscles again. So it's an automatic response without thinking. And
Yes.
we do it all the time. Driving is one. I don't know if you remember driving at first, it was scary. I mean,
Yes.
you had to learn how to apply the brake the right way, the gas the right way, stay between the lines, and there's like a lot of billion different skills. But today we just drive, think it's one.
Yeah.
So our eating programs are conditioned in many ways. There's all kind of abuses and stuff. There's all kind of bad emotional food conditions, hating
Yes.
food, loving food. And what we want to do is put food back where it's supposed to be. Food is meant for nutrition, health, and
Right.
life. And
It's
if it's
the
anything
gas in the
beyond that,
car. It's
Yeah.
not, we don't put water in our car and think it's going to run good. It's the gas, it's the fuel for exciting life, for fulfillment, for fun, for
Yeah.
adventure, right? And it's so important to understand this,
Hmm.
because understanding it will bring your
Hmm.
awareness. And one
Yeah.
thing I wanted to say is, if you don't think you're in hypnosis and you don't think you're in a trance, do it with the other hand.
Oh, yeah.
You're
Which I
brushing your
did.
teeth,
Yeah.
right? Do it with the other hand. It'll make you think. You
Yeah.
drive with your right hand, drive with your left. You
Mhm.
know, you eat with your right hand, eat with your left. You will notice that, oh, I am in a trance. It's automatically, my body performs what it's
Mhm.
practiced. That's
Yeah.
that's a trance. That's hypnosis.
So what I do in my weight loss or weight, it's really, even though we say it's a weight loss program, because people say they want to lose weight, even
Right.
skinny folks, but really what we're doing is we're training people to be in control of their life. We're redesigning their relationships with their body,
Yeah.
with their food, with their past, with relationships, because all problems start with relationships. Your eating issues, your weight issue, there's a person or many people involved,
Yeah.
positive way or negative ways. And so what we do is we show you how to take control of this relationship with yourself and with food and with people, a natural byproduct of self-esteem, personal power, real control. You lose weight without effort, without wrestling, without anything at all. Now, granted, at the beginning, when we say, hey, let's kind of work on your mashed potato love, and you said, no, don't take my love away. I said, mashed potatoes don't love you, but you can still eat them. You can still eat them, but you won't abuse yourself with them.
Yes.
So what we do is
Abuse
we,
yourself with them.
yeah.
That's what we do with
Oh
food.
yeah. Oh yeah. And the bad thing is, if you have no emotional coping skills, when life is really sucks and all kinds of things hitting you every which way but loose, and your only coping mechanism is eating, and then you've gained so much weight, you beat yourself up, you look in the mirror, you dislike yourself, it's
Yeah,
escalating the form of self-emotional abuse. And so what we
exactly.
do is we undo that. And we could sit down with any food, and I show you how to do this. Sit down with a food and change the meaning of it. Like this guy was in the seminar, he said, you cannot tap away the smell of cheese. I said, okay, come on up. So at one point, as we're working, because our brain gives food flavor, sensations, and emotions, at one point he's shoving the cheese in his nose and says, I still can't smell it. That's because the brain is translating the cheese. And so this can work with anything. I've taken wine and used the process and turned it into water. To them, it tastes like water. I hadn't done it the other way though. Water into wine, but I can take wine and tap it down and change the emotional references where it tastes like water, or chocolate, it tastes like cardboard, or it doesn't have no flavors, or you can actually start tasting the toxicity in it. So again, it's the brain giving meaning to this. Now, guys, just think about it. If you can now push food away, you don't need to souvenir eat. You don't have to go to the buffet and eat 10 plates of food. Make sure you got to taste everything. You can eat one plate and be satisfied. One piece of chocolate and not crave it and be driven by it. You
Yeah.
can you can love your body as it is. And as you love your body as it is, it starts to change your judgment against yourself. The feeling, like, how many times I've heard this? I said, I feel like I have a fat gene. I have a defective gene. I said, you don't have a fat gene. You have an emotional running gene. You're running from your emotions. You're trying to find your drug to make you feel better. I work with people with the worst possible drug addictions. If you hadn't seen my addiction stuff, I got stuff on YouTube. We will take heroin or meth. In their head, it seems real. By the time we're done, it doesn't seem real. Matter of fact, they're disgusted by it. So I've
Right.
done it with the biggest of the drugs, and I've done it with even the smallest of drugs, chocolate.
Yeah. I think the best byproduct that you were talking about earlier, the byproduct is self um
Regulation. Self.
self-regulation like what people want, willpower. They want
Yeah.
willpower. And
Yeah.
that will be, and then you'll feel, and I've literally had people say, like, I feel like an adult. And at first I was like, wait, I'm trying to help people have fun and feel like a kid again. But they feel like they have self-control is what
Right.
they're really looking for.
Right.
And that self-control is being just run over because the subconscious is way more powerful than the
Yeah.
conscious. So we want to know
Yeah.
what's in there and access it. It's not,
Yeah.
it's always being used against you anyway or for you.
Yeah.
You might as well know what it is,
Yeah.
right? And deal
Right.
with it.
Because the unconscious, we call the unconscious subconscious, we call it the limbic operating system.
Right.
Its purpose is to stay alive.
Mhm.
And for you, if the best way to deal with your problems is eating, the result that you'll get is a bigger body, and then you beat yourself up because of it, because you're trying to escape the pain and you're going over here. This is making you feel good at the time, but the pain that's here is now going to be built over here to where
Right.
now you dislike your body, you spend all your money, you have low self-esteem, or you beat yourself up. None of these are good, but if you do change the cause, which is the emotional instability, the emotional traumas in and around food. How would you like it? Tammy, you're at the grocery store, someone walks up to your cart, pulls ice cream or something out, said, "You're too fat to eat this." A
Yeah.
total stranger who doesn't even know you. I
Hmm.
mean, this is traumatic, and then it also
Right.
escalates the self-abuse. It's so, and so the final results in what I teach is that you'll have an empowered life. Stephanie lost 100 pounds. Michelle lost over 100 pounds. She used my system, but you know what they'll tell you? It said what really set me free was all the pain inside of me. When I started working on these, and I started noticing that when I'm stressed, I want to eat. When things are bothering me, I want to eat. So I deal with my stressors. I've
Mhm.
had people come to do sessions with me because I'm a neuroplastician, behavioral engineer. I help people clear their head of unpleasant experiences and behaviors. And they've been seeing me for like, say, 3 weeks or a month or two. And they said, "I've lost 30 pounds since started seeing you. And I never even tried anything to lose weight. It just naturally came off
Right.
because the driving force behind overeating is unpleasant emotional experiences." Now, that's just one area. That another area is that relationship you built with the food.
Mhm.
You also have your automatic eating program areas, and there's
Right.
a lot of different programs.
Mhm.
These are all different aspects to address. And then when you sit down at the table, do you know how to eat? How do you know when to quit? How do you know when to start? How do you know when, to push it away? Because
Mm.
again, we have been trained and conditioned bad eating programs. Clean your plate in
Right.
spite of you're not hungry and your belly hurts.
So we
So
have to
these are,
relearn that walking, which
you just,
means
yeah,
it's going to
you just,
feel different. We're going to have to,
yeah.
yeah, relearn.
You got to
Wonderful.
change those bad food programs. And then, of course, if you've been, uh, there's a lot of sexual abuse with this stuff. Food represents the love of mom and dad, or the hatred of mom and dad, the love or hatred of grandma, grandpa. It may represent the hate of food, may represent a person you cannot stand. The love of food may be the emotional escape. I worked with so many, or control. Another thing, food is control. If I can control my food, maybe they can't control me emotionally. They don't want any of their foods touching each other. They want their colors. They eat this first, eat that last. There's so many different little eating programs involved around the food and people. And so weight gain or weight loss are based on emotions and emotional conditionings in about yourself, the food, and people. So if you can change those, your life will not only look better, feel better, act
Yeah.
better, but you'll be happier.
Yeah. And that's the kind of freedom you can feel around this when you experience healing or transforming that memory where it started or that emotional link is that
Mhm.
you'll actually just feel free around that food instead of you have to have it, right?
Right.
Or you have to get it in order to feel something, in order to
Yeah.
feel good.
Yeah. Yeah. So what we're doing is we're
A lot of
teaching
freedom there.
emotional intelligence skills, really, because you you can't eat. I mean, you can't eat to solve your problems unless you're hungry. That's a problem. You got to feed your stomach,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, unless your body needs nourishment. You might be hungry without eating
Yeah.
it.
And also another program I see is that the fear of starvation, fear
Hmm.
of feeling starvation. They're always shoveling food in their mouth all the time. They don't want to feel the pain of hunger because of their starvation. The woman said, my husband wants to go on a cruise, but I'm so terrified. I said, why are you so terrified? She said, because they have buffets. I said, what's wrong with buffets? She said, because I don't know how to stop. So I
Right.
said, well, do you have any history of this? I mean, tell me about your life. She said, oh, we were poor. We're the poorest in the community, in the town. And she said, what I love the most is that Sundays, one week, 1 month, 1 day of the year of the month, they have the buffet. She said, we'd all stuff ourselves. We'd be so stuffed, we'd be sick for days because we knew this is the last time we're going to get it. So now she's got this childhood emotional starvation program, automatic trance eating, and then she's so afraid to go to a place where they have buffets because she fears that she will never be in control. And it's only emotional condition program. And we clean
Automatic
it up.
trance eating. Automatic
Yeah.
trance eating. That means the brain saw a buffet, it linked it to the past experience where you have to fill up. And now she
It's a positive
consciously,
experience too, by the way. Yeah.
yeah,
Remember,
right.
it is a positive experience. Yeah.
Yeah, she got the positive experience of a food, but the fact that she knew she was going to starve soon, and the brain is just saying, you're going to starve. There's a buffet, you have to eat it. And there's a lot of power just in being aware of this, isn't there? There's a lot of power in being aware of the fact that
Yeah.
you are in a trance. And it's not necessarily true, especially once you understand that and you know it.
Right. Right. Well, again, I think also is when we start to realize this too, is that being being in yourself and feeling safe within yourself, having control over the self, uh, knowing how to nurture yourself without food, without drugs, without anything, learning to like you from within you is the most important key. And that's what we're teaching, is to be complete, whole, and build the life that you like. We've had a lot of people with food chemical sensitivities. We've had the worst possible disease and illnesses. And by using the neuroplastic system that I teach, it helps you update those memories that drive the pain, weight issues, etc. So, yeah.
It's a wonderful thing to understand about yourself. There's no doubt about that. That is so exciting to learn, like, there's a reason behind this and there's a
Mhm.
cause
Mhm.
and you can do something about it. I think that is, I mean, it's so transforming to
Yeah.
know I can know what to do for myself. I can understand what
Mhm.
happened, how come I'm being driven this way, and turn it around,
Adjust it. Yeah. Adjust it. Change it.
adjust it. And then you
Yeah.
have these wonderful
Mhm.
feelings as a result instead of the fighting and the conflict inside yourself.
Yeah.
No fun.
Yeah. I think the byproduct when you take the training system or get one of my practitioners help clean some of this stuff up, the byproduct is personal self-esteem goes up. The byproduct is your relationships will improve. You know what I'm saying? All of these pieces are side effects of addressing and knowing yourself, addressing the food area, the food you hate, the food you love, the automatic eating programs. When you change this, you as a person will be better. Your relationship will improve. Your finances could even improve because you're not beating
Yep.
yourself up. You know what I'm saying?
I love the byproducts. People are, they work with me and then they come back and they say, I had this too. And I'm like, wow,
Mhm.
like it's incredible what can change for you. Super exciting. Awesome. Well, this has been, I think, one of our best conversations and very profound for people that have been struggling with this, that it's not
Yeah.
what you thought it was, and the reasons it's not working, and how
Yeah.
there's freedom just
Yeah.
understanding how your brain is working, where it's coming from, and adjusting it,
Yeah.
and get those effortless byproducts of self-worth, self-esteem, self-control, and really loving people instead of food. Isn't that the key?
Mhm.
The key really is, wow, like we can connect with people and not have it be, I need the food when I'm feeling lonely. So maybe think about that even right now. Who could you connect with when you're thinking of chocolate? Who would it feel good to be able to
Mhm.
talk with or give a
Yeah.
hug to?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So weight issues, weight gain, weight loss, a major component in our world, and it's basically has very little to do with food, everything to do with your emotional world. And
Right.
if you want some help, we can do it.
That's right. Your emotional world can be transformed. You do not have to remain
Yeah.
in that state. So thank you
Right.
so
Yeah.
much, Sir
Thank you,
Robert
Pam.
Jean. It's an amazing conversation, understanding, and freedom for
Yeah.
ourselves. So thank you for that.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being here. And guys, come and see us. If you're ready for something better, it starts in here, right between here. We'll see you later.
Correct.
Peace. Good.